and going up to ayah 35 of Surah Az-Zukhruf. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إليه يرد علم الساعة وما تخرج من ثمرات من أكمامها وما تحمل من أنثى ولا تضع إلا بعلمه ويوم يناديهم أين شركائي قالوا آذناك ما منا من شهيد وضل عنهم ما كانوا يدعون من قبل وظنوا ما لهم من محيص لا يسأم الإنسان من دعاء الخير وإن مسه الشر فيئوس قنوط ولئن أذقناه رحمة منا من بعد ضراء مسته ليقولن هذا لي وما أظن الساعة قائمة ولئن رجعت إلى ربي إن لي عنده للحسنى فلننبئن الذين كفروا بما عملوا ولنذيقنهم من عذاب غليظ وإذا أنعمنا على الإنسان أعرض ونأى بجانبه وإذا مسه الشر فذو دعاء عريض قل أرأيتم من كان من عند الله ثم كفرتم به من أضل ممن هو في شقاق بعيد سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق أولم يكف بربك أنه على كل شيء شهيد ألا إنهم في مرية من لقاء ربهم ألا إنه بكل شيء محيط بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حميم عين سين قاف كذلك يوحي إليك وإلى الذين من قبلك الله العزيز الحكيم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العلي العظيم تكاد السماوات يتفطرن من فوقهن والملائكة يسبحون بحمد ربهم ويستغفرون لمن في الأرض ألا إن الله هو الغفور الرحيم والذين اتخذوا من دونه أولياء الله حفيظ عليهم وما أنت عليهم بوكيل وكذلك أوحينا إليك قرآنا عربيا لتنذر أم القرى ومن حولها وتنذر يوم الجمع لا ريب فيه فريق في الجنة وفريق في السعير ولو شاء الله لجعلهم أمة واحدة ولكن يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمون ما لهم من ولي ولا نصير أم اتخذوا من دونه أولياء فالله هو الولي وهو يحيي الموتى وهو على كل شيء قدير وما اختلفتم فيه من شيء فحكمه إلى الله ذلكم الله ربي عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب فاطر السماوات والأرض جعل لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا ومن الأنعام أزواجا يذرأكم فيه ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير له مقاليد السماوات والأرض يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر إنه بكل شيء عليم شرع لكم من الدين ما وصى به نوحا والذي أوحينا إليك وما وصينا به إبراهيم وموسى وعيسى أن أقيموا الدين ولا تتفرقوا فيه كبر على المشركين ما تدعوهم إليه الله يجتبي إليه من يشاء ويهدي إليه من ينيب وما تفرقوا إلا من بعد ما جاءهم العلم بغيا بينهم ولولا كلمة سبقت من ربك إلى أجل مسمى لقضي بينهم وإن الذين أورثوا الكتاب من بعدهم لفي شك منه مريب فلذلك فادع واستقم كما أمرت ولا تتبع أهواءهم وقل آمنت بما أنزل الله من كتاب وأمرت ليعدل بينكم الله ربنا وربكم لنا أعمالنا ولكم أعمالكم لا حجة بيننا وبينكم الله يجمع بيننا وإليه المصير والذين يحاجون في الله من بعد ما استجيب له حجتهم داحدة عند ربهم وعليهم غضب ولهم عذاب شديد الله الذي أنزل الكتاب بالحق والميزان وما يدريك لعل الساعة قريب يستعجل بها الذين لا يؤمنون بها والذين آمنوا مشفقون منها ويعلمون أنها الحق ألا إن الذين يمارون في الساعة لفي ضلال بعيد الله لطيف بعباده يرزق من يشاء وهو القوي العزيز من كان يريد حرث الآخرة نزد له في حرثه ومن كان يريد حرث الدنيا نؤته منها وما له في الآخرة من نصيب أم لهم شركاء شرعوا لهم من الدين ما لم يأذن به الله ولولا كلمة الفصل لقضي بينهم وإن الظالمين لهم عذاب أليم ترى الظالمين مشفقين مما كسبوا وهو واقع بهم والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات في روضات الجنات لهم ما يشاءون عند ربهم ذلك هو الفضل الكبير ذلك الذي يبشر الله عباده الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى ومن يقترف حسنة نزد له فيها حسنا إن الله غفور شكور أم يقولون افترى على الله كذبا فإن يشاء الله يختم على قلبك ويمحو الله الباطل ويحق الحق بكلماته إنه عليم بذات الصدور وهو الذي يقبل التوبة عن عباده ويعفو عن السيئات ويعلم ما تفعلون ويستجيب الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات ويزيدهم من فضله والكافرون لهم عذاب شديد ولو بسط الله الرزق لعباده لبغوا في الأرض ولكن ينزل بقدر ما يشاء إنه بعباده خبير بصير وهو الذي ينزل الغيث من بعد ما قنطوا وينشر رحمته وهو الولي الحميد ومن آياته خلق السماوات والأرض وما بث فيهما من دابة وهو على جمعهم إذا يشاء قدير وما أصابكم من مصيبة فبما كسبت أيديكم ويعفو عن كثير وما أنتم بمعجزين في الأرض وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير ومن آياته الجوار في البحر كالأعلام إن يشأ يسكن الريح فيظللن رواكد على ظهره إن في ذلك لآيات لكل صبار شكور أو يوبقهن بما كسبوا ويعفو عن كثير ويعلم الذين يجادلون في في آياتنا ما لهم من محيص فما أوتيتم من شيء فمتاع الحياة الدنيا وما عند الله خير وأبقى للذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون والذين يجتنبون كبائر الإثم والفواحش وإذا ما غضبوا وهم يغفرون والذين استجابوا لربهم وأقاموا الصلاة وأمرهم شورى بينهم ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين إذا أصابهم البغي هم ينتصرون وجزاء سيئة سيئة مثلها فمن عفا وأصلح فأجره على الله إنه لا يحب الظالمين ولمن انتصر بعد ظلمه فأولئك ما عليهم من سبيل إنما السبيل على الذين يظلمون الناس ويبغون في الأرض بغير الحق أولئك لهم عذاب أليم ولمن صبر وغفر إن ذلك لمن عزم الأمور ومن يضلل الله فما له من ولي من بعده وترى الظالمين لما رأوا العذاب يقولون هل إلى مرد من سبيل وتراهم يعرضون عليها خاشعين من الذل ينظرون من طرف خفي وقال الذين آمنوا إن الخاسرين الذين خسروا أنفسهم وأهليهم يوم القيامة ألا إن الظالمين في عذاب مقيم وما كان لهم من أولياء ينصرونهم من دون الله ومن يضلل الله فما له من سبيل استجيبوا لربكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم لا مرد له من الله ما لكم من ملجئ يومئذ وما لكم من نكير فإن أعرضوا فما أرسلناك عليهم حفيظا إن عليك إلا البلاغ وإنا إذا أذقنا الإنسان منا رحمة فرح بها وإن تصبهم سيئة بما قدمت أيديهم فإن الإنسان كفور لله ملك السماوات والأرض يخلق ما يشاء يهب لمن يشاء إناثا ويهب لمن يشاء الذكور أو يزوجهم ذكرانا وإناثا ويجعل من يشاء عقيما إنه عليم قدير وما كان لبشر أن يكلمه الله إلا وحيا أو من وراء حجاب أو يرسل رسولا فيوحي بإذنه ما يشاء إنه علي حكيم وكذلك أوحينا إليك روحا من أمرنا ما كنت تدري ما الكتاب ولا الإيمان ولكن جعلناه نورا نهدي به من نشاء من عبادنا إنك لتهدي إلى صراط مستقيم صراط الله الذي له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ألا إلى الله تصير الأمور بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حميم والكتاب المبين إنا جعلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون وإنه في أم الكتاب لدينا لعلي حكيم أفنضرب عنكم الذكر صفحا أن كنتم قوما مسرفين وكم أرسلنا من نبي في الأولين وما يأتيهم من نبي إلا كانوا به يستهزئون فأهلكنا أشد منهم بطشا ومضى مثل الأولين ولئن سألتهم ولئن سألتهم من خلق السماوات والأرض ليقولن خلقهن العزيز العليم الذي جعل لكم الأرض مهدا وجعل لكم فيها سبلا لعلكم تهتدون والذي نزل من السماء ماء بقدر فأنشرنا به بلدة ميتا كذلك تخرجون والذي خلق الأزواج كلها وجعل لكم من الفلك والأنعام ما تركبون لتستووا على ظهوره ثم تذكروا نعمة ربكم إذا استويتم عليه وتقولوا سبحان الذي سخر لنا هذا وما كنا له مقرنين وإنا إلى ربنا لمنقلبون وجعلوا له من عباده جزءا إن الإنسان لكفور مبين أم اتخذ مما يخلق بنات وأصفاكم بالبنين وإذا بشر أحدهم بما ضرب للرحمن مثلا ظل وجهه مسودا وهو كظيم أومن ينشأ في الحلية وهو في الخصام غير مبين وجعلوا الملائكة الذين هم عباد الرحمن إناثا أشهدوا خلقهم ستكتب شهادتهم ويسألون وقالوا لو شاء الرحمن ما عبدناهم ما لهم بذلك من علم إن هم إلا يخرسون أم آتيناهم كتابا من قبله فهم به مستمسكون بل قالوا إنا وجدنا آباءنا على أمة وإنا على آثارهم مهتدون وكذلك ما أرسلنا من قبلك في قرية من نذير إلا قال مترفوها إنا وجدنا آباءنا على أمة وإنا على آثارهم مقتدون قال أولو جئتكم بأهدى مما وجدتم عليه آباءكم قالوا إنا بما أرسلتم به كافرون فانتقمنا منهم فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المكذبين وإذ قال إبراهيم لأبيه آزر وقومه إنني براء مما تعبدون إلا الذي فطرني فإنه سيهدين وجعلها كلمة باقية في عقبه لعلهم يرجعون بل متعت هؤلاء وآباءهم حتى جاءهم الحق ورسول مبين ولما جاءهم الحق قالوا هذا سحر وإنا به كافرون وقالوا لولا نزل هذا القرآن على رجل من القريتين عظيم أهم يقسمون رحمة ربك نحن قسمنا بينهم معيشتهم في الحياة الدنيا ورفعنا بعضهم فوق بعض درجات ليتخذ بعضهم بعضا سخريا ورحمة ربك خير مما يجمعون ولولا أن يكون الناس أمة واحدة لجعلنا لمن يكفر بالرحمن لبيوتهم سقفا من فضة ومعارج عليها يظهرون ولبيوتهم أبوابا وسررا عليها يتكئون وزخرفا وإن كل ذلك لما متاع الحياة الدنيا والآخرة عند ربك للمتقين صدق الله العظيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Amma ba'd. So as most people are following along, we're starting to get to the point in the Quran where there's more than just one surah in the juz. And so we've just finished recitation of 2, almost 3 surahs now. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this juz, he begins and he says, Ilayhiyuraddu ilm, that the people at that time of the Prophet ﷺ, and with a lot of the other messengers, they used to ask, as we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks, they used to challenge the Prophet ﷺ, challenge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ask, you're saying that there is such a thing as, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's such a thing as divine decree, divine wrath, right? Bring the wrath, where is it? Right? They would ask Allah, they would ask the Prophet ﷺ that if you keep telling us about this punishment, then bring it, right? You keep talking about it, so where is it? And in one of the other reflections that we shared, we talked about the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful that He will rush to hasten His mercy, but He will always delay His wrath. And He will never punish anyone until, not only till a messenger has been sent to them, but He will give them multiple opportunities to be able to come to their senses. And so when He opens this juz', He says, Ilayhiyuraddu ilm. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is responding to people who used to ask the Prophet ﷺ, when is the hour? Right? As-sa'a. When is the hour? When is the day of judgment? And this is something where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, similar to the ruh, right? When the people used to ask, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ, that what is, when those men were asking the Prophet ﷺ, what is the nature of the ruh? What is it? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded that, the ruh is something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and only He has divine knowledge of it. And so similarly with the hour, right? Similarly with the day of judgment, when they ask when is it coming, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that only He has the divine knowledge and the all-encompassing knowledge and hikmah of when it is. And a lot of these surahs here, as you've probably noticed in the 25th, and I believe with some of the 26th too, they begin with Hamim, right? Every single one of them. And they all are followed with some sort of glorification or definition of the Quran. You have, Surah Ghafir starts with Hamim, Surah Fuṣṣilat starts with Hamim, and all of them are describing the Quran, right? I think Inna ja'alnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun, I believe that's one of them. Yeah, Surah Az-Zukhruf, Inna ja'alnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun, that we've revealed this Quran to you, to people of understanding, right? Then you have Surah Dukhan, that Hamim wal Kitab al-Mubin, right? He's talking again about the book, wal Kitab al-Mubin. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakatin inna kunna mundirin. Then in the following surah, in Surah Jāthiyah, he says, Hamim tanzilul kitabi min Allah al-Aziz al-Hakim. And so there's a theme here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting, again, the divine guidance and mercy that comes from the book that He is revealing. So just another, note as to why, when you start to see these themes in a lot of the surahs, it becomes, when you find the pattern, you start to pick up on a lot of the messages that the surahs themselves are revealing. Throughout this juz, what I was just looking for a little bit earlier is I was trying to find a specific verse, because there are some stories that I believe are in this juz or in the following juz, in the 26th, but I believe they're in 25th, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a lot of times the linguistic miracle of the Quran is that it's not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that it's an all-encompassing book, and it is, right? He says that this is a book of ahsan al-qasas, that it's a book with the best of stories, which it is. But the beauty in a lot of the Quran is you can't just, for people who are truly seeking knowledge, you can't just pick it up and expect to understand the time, the context, and the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was trying to reveal to the Prophet ﷺ, unless you have an understanding of all the events that happened in that time and that precluded it. And the reason I say that, right, is there's one story that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to us and tells us about the people of Ad, where Hud alayhi salam, he had come to them, and again he had talked to them in a lot of eloquence. He very eloquently told them about their responsibility to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to worship Him, who He is, what His favors upon the people were. Right? And these people, they rejected Hud alayhi salam. And then, as we talked about, like, when is the hour, right? The tests and the trials, that's when they came. And one of these tests and trials was a severe famine and a drought, right? These were people who used to, when you look at the adab and like the punishments that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send upon people, there is also they were very specific to those people, right? These were people, the people of Ad were known to be some of the strongest people, right? These were people who used to literally say that there is nobody in the world who's stronger than us, right? They could build homes and like cities with their bare hands, right? They had this tremendous strength and this mightiness. And so when Hud alayhi salam had come to them, there was this arrogance that, we're self-sufficient. We have everything that we could possibly need and we could do whatever we want to do. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then shows them, right? The strength that you have, what does the strength mean? Except that it's by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The strength of your bodies is because of the food that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided to you. The food that He's provided to you is because of the earth He's allowed to nourish that food. The earth that has been allowed to nourish that food is only because of the sky that the rains have been sent down from. Right? And He shows all of this through withholding that. That these people who used to say we were so mighty and so strong, when the drought and the famine came, they became incredibly weak, right? To the point where they physically could not even stand up. They literally went down to their knees. And so when the rain was withheld, what can they do? Right? You can say that you have all the might in the world. You can even say that you can get the food from somewhere else. But when the food stops, when the rain stops, there's nothing you can do except turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so these same people, the riwayah, the narrations say that people started dying one by one, to the point where they describe the women in that city as widowers, that their husbands were just dying one by one, and they became so weak that the narrations say that the animals used to come into their homes, wild animals, right? Like how sometimes we look out and we see, we're in Illinois, so we don't see too many exciting animals, but sometimes we see deer, sometimes we see wolves, right? Coyotes. And if something like that were to come near your house, you go to it and, you either make a scene and scare it away, or you're able to defend yourself, right? People will maybe even bring some sort of weapon or self-defense mechanism and scare it away. Right? And the narrations say that these wild animals and beasts used to come into their homes, but they were so weak that they couldn't even raise their hands to defend themselves. Right? When animals see you, they even get scared, that because you're walking towards them, they start to run away. But these people were so weak that the animals lost all fear of them. They didn't think they were anything, right? And these were the same people that used to think they were the most powerful people on the earth. And so when this happened, right, the people had other gods, but they still had this knowledge, and this is something we see even at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that the Kaaba was a sacred place. Right? They recognized their mistake. I wouldn't even say that they recognized their mistake. They recognized the divinity of the Kaaba, and they send a delegation to make dua there. That they're so weak to even make dua on their own or to even visit the Kaaba, that they send people on their behalf saying that, look at what's happened to us. Right? Look at the weakness. We used to be so strong, and now look at what's happened to us. And the only solution to this is that you go to the Kaaba and that you pray for rain to come so that the crops may grow and so that we may feed ourselves. But the same delegation, right, the same group of people that they sent, because this entire community, there was no deen in their lives, that even that journey to Mecca is described in the books of history as a journey in which there was just merriment and they say merriment and folly, right? That they're going on such a serious mission. They've seen with their own eyes people dying because of the rains being withheld. And they're told them that they are this group of people going to the Kaaba is their only chance for redemption. But that same group of people on the way to Mecca, rather than being scared, rather than being afraid, rather than making dua on the way there, they bring their instruments with them. They bring women with them, and all it is a big festival on the way there. And so much so that when they reach Mecca, that they camped outside, right? They camped on the outskirts of Mecca, and they continued to drink and laugh, even though their mission was so serious. And a man who was in Mecca, he sent 2 of his slaves to them with a message, right? And he says, look at these people who they were coming to make dua for rain because they're dying. They have no food, right? They used to be healthy and happy. Now their women are becoming widows. And he tells the people, right, that while all of this is going on, while you're a witness to all of these things, it's you guys that have been sent to make dua. Out of every single person that could have been sent, you guys are the ones that have been sent to make dua. Like how is a group like yours, who's witnessed all of this and still not reflecting on the seriousness of it, how is that going to be accepted? And he tells them that we call it bad dua, right? He makes a dua against them, that he says, may your delegation be ruined, right? And there's no welcome for you in this land. And these people, when they hear this, they're shaken, right? It shakes the people of Ad. So they went the next day and they started crying and they started praying for rain. And the books of tafsir, they mention, and this is when the Quran starts to pick up the story. So when we were talking about earlier that, you read a lot about these punishments and the stories in the Quran, but there's a whole backstory to it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is intentionally not necessarily writing in its entirety in the Quran. There's a lot of hukm behind it, right? We can't necessarily speak or know of all of them. But part of them is to truly understand and reflect on the actual stories that happen, not just on these little snippets, right? But what actually happened to these people. And the books of tafsir, they mention that when these people were praying for rain, that 3 clouds came to them and they followed. They came back, and then 3 clouds had come to them. And the clouds were, I believe the clouds were red. One cloud was red, right? And they looked at the red cloud and they said, this looks like a storm. This is a red cloud. There can't be anything good in it. The second one was yellow. And they said that this one looks like a disease, right? Yellow, a lot of times we associate with the disease. In the olden times, they used to associate it with diseases like, gout or other types of diseases. That's typically what that yellow is associated with. And then the black, right? And we know that grays and blacks, especially for clouds, are usually associated with storms. And so the only one that they thought made sense, the black one, said, these are the rain clouds, we want this one. So they were asked to choose between the 3. Right, this is a very clear sign. They saw that there are 3 different clouds here that are coming, and they were asked to choose between the 3. So they take the black one, and they say, our du'as are accepted, and they become all happy, and they go back home. Right, but again, keep in mind, these are the same people that spent the entirety of their lives rejecting the message that Hud alayhi salam had given them. Right? And they had questioned, when is the punishment coming? And so once they returned, the Quran picks up the story, right? فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ عَارِضٌ مُسْتَقْبِلَ أَوْدِيَتِهِمْ, that when they saw the cloud coming, they said that this is the cloud for rain, right? This is what we asked for. بَلْ هُوَ مُسْتَعْجَلْتُمْ بِهِ, I believe. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, remember when Hud used to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can punish, and you used to ask where that punishment was? Right? The messenger used to come, but you used to keep testing him. You used to keep asking. Right? Now it's here. Right? This cloud that was sent is now going to unleash one of the most devastating storms that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala characterizes in the Quran, that completely annihilated everything. Right? So the paradox is, these people think that they finally had their dua accepted despite having rejected the truth the entirety of the time. And before they know it, they actually bring the punishment to the city, right? They're the reason that the cloud comes to the city. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys the entire city. And the Quran says that it left them demolished in 7 nights, i.e. 8 days, right? 8 days it took. Imagine a tornado that completely wipes out the entire city of the strongest people that were known to live at that time. And the lesson in this is the outcome of people of arrogance. And these were people who also prayed, right? Maybe it was a little bit too late for them after having rejected over and over again. But these were people who arrogantly thought that we can do anything and everything that we want, and later we can repent, right? Later we can ask, later we can come to the truth, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us everything that we've asked for. Does He have the capacity to do so? Absolutely. Right? But when you do it in arrogance, then this is the outcome that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't know, right, whether we're going to be recipients of His mercy or His wrath, and we ask Him to always bestow upon us His mercy and His rahmah and His sakina and His barakah. And so when you don't make that intention, right, especially today, that now we're in these blessed months and blessed nights where we have this opportunity, if you don't make that intention today to change, right, and continually strive for it, continually assess, Ramadan shouldn't just be the benchmark once a year where we check to see is who we are this year better than who we were last year, right? But how are we doing this on a daily or a weekly basis? I was reading somewhere today that people were saying they overestimate how much they can do in a day, but they underestimate how much they can do in a week. Right? A lot of times you have all these tasks that you have to do in your plate, and then you get too ambitious and you don't finish them by the end of the day. But if you did them little by little and continually checked yourself against them, by the end of the week you would have accomplished something huge. Right? And so we make that intention to be people of continuous change and improvement, because the reality is that every problem that may come is just a precursor. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends these punishments, right, and these problems that arise, sometimes all they are a precursor to the next problem, right? And they could be potentially good or bad, right? In a sense of punishment for people who are arrogant, the problem that comes is only to set them up for destruction for the next problem. For people of goodness, any problem that may come or any test that may come, the next more difficult one is only a means for you to gain even further purification from it, right? For you to gain even closer nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from it. And another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he tells us that when a person who gets fatigued, right, earning their sustenance, their rizq, or that they feel pain or worry, or even if a thorn pricks them, every problem becomes a means of a person's sins being forgiven, and this is only for a mu'min. Every difficulty that comes, there is goodness in it. There are other hadith that we know that how wondrous is the affair of a believer, such that every good that comes to it is good for him, or every bad that may come to him, even in that there is good in it. And this is again only for the mu'min. And so we have to recognize this in the context of any difficulties that may come in our life, and ask ourselves, is it something that we've done to be deserving of punishment? Or have we turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and are we allowing it to become a means of closeness to Him and a means of forgiveness? So we'll end there. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. والله المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. The winners for the kids for yesterday's question, let me pull it up, is Muhammad Yusuf. So we have a lot of these kids that are getting very good at this, right? Winning it multiple times. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase them in their knowledge and make them sources of benefit and light for their families and for the community. I mean, the question for today is, what was the story of the people of Ad, right? Of the Prophet Hud alayhi salam, his people, or the people of Ad. What was their story that we talked about today? Right? And what do we learn from it? So inshallah, whichever one of the kids is able to answer that tomorrow, we will announce that tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.